Hi.
Hi,
Hi, Bob.
Mum. How are
Good.
you?
Yeah, I'm good, thanks.
Good. You ready for our next video?
Yes, already here. So we're going to oops, sorry. We're going to focus on skin aging.
Yes. Hi, everyone.
Hello, everyone.
Yep. So in our last video, Mum explained the basics of your skin structure. So it just feels a very natural follow-on to expand on what happens through the ages of the skin. I think, Mum, you touched on the ages of the skin in the last video. So this is just going into a little bit more detail about how the skin changes.
Yeah. So we're going on to how our skin ages. And remember, this is very basic information. The type of skin you have will mainly depend on your genes and how your hormones behave. So, external aggression to the skin, first of all, the heat, the cold, the weather, the pollution, that's the main thing. But then also, the skin aging process can be accelerated by sun damage, stress, poor sleep, smoking, drinking, poor diet, all those lovely things that we enjoy. So let's start with babies. Um, After they're born, they have that top layer of dead skin that they shed,
Yeah.
and then they have the most gorgeous, plump, hydrated, glowing skin.
Yeah, they
Don't you
do
agree?
have, they have the most flawless airbrushed skin.
That's a good example of good skin. Then you get to the teenage years and hormones kick in. Your body goes through a lot of changes, and some people go through this stage without any problems. Some people get a few spots, and some people experience overactive sebaceous glands and suffer with acne.
What do you recommend for acne?
It's hard. I mean, basically, you should have a good skincare routine, basically keeping the surface clean, so nothing harsh to upset the acid mantle, which is the invisible layer over the epidermis made up of sweat, which is water, and sebum, which is oil. And that's all naturally secreted from your skin. That's basically our first line of defense. And ideally, the acid mantle should be a pH of 5.5. People with bad acne can go along to see your doctor and get blood tests, and they may refer you to a dermatologist. But causes of acne are things like whiteheads, blackheads, little spots with a sort of bit of sebum in the top. It could be painful.
That's good that you kind of went into acne because I just feel like I've had friends who call me, they're like, oh my God, Keish, my skin, I've just got acne everywhere. And the skin doesn't look bad at all. It's probably just like a small breakout. But
Yeah.
I think like defining what acne is to just like hormonal skin or just a bad skin day for someone with generally good skin, they might just say, oh my God, it's acne. But what is acne? So yeah, that's kind
Yes,
of good.
acne, where your hair follicles, your sebaceous glands are really clogged and it's got a lot of dead skin. So again, remember the 5 layers that we talked about, and the top layer, you just need to slough off the dead cells, so that the oils, the sweat, everything can just get through easily without being clogged. And then if it's just a bad skin day, it'll clear up in a couple of days or so, but acne will go on for a long time. And that's the time when, if you've got a good skincare routine, and nothing's really happened, then go and see the doctor. And after blood tests and something, they might recommend that you see a dermatologist or someone like that.
Okay.
So by the time you get to your 20s, most of the congestion should have settled, as your skin should be at its best. Now, if not before, you really should be into a basic skincare routine. So cleanse, tone, moisturize during the day, and also use a sun cream, an SPF. And then at night time, again, it's important to cleanse, tone, and moisturize before you go to bed.
Can I
You're
just,
going to say something.
yeah, can I just ask, with using an SPF, does it apply to people living in cloudy, grey, rainy countries like, England? SPF, I just feel like when you say SPF, people think sunbathing in hot countries, but should it be generally applied to every day, even in colder, grayer climates?
Yes, absolutely. Because even on grey, cloudy days, the rays from the sun still penetrate. And SPF should go on after your moisturizer, so it sits on the skin as a barrier, but before your makeup. Also, when applying skincare, wait a couple of minutes between layers so you don't smush everything together. Very technical word, that.
Smush.
Smush.
I feel like
Just just let everything dry and absorb before you go on to the next layer.
yeah, I feel like so you said apply an SPF afterwards, but I prefer an SPF in my moisturizer. I don't want to go and spend money on a face cream and then an SPF. And also, when you said waiting like a few minutes before layers of skincare, sometimes I can do that and it's fine if Quinn's asleep. But most days he's there grabbing my attention, so I don't feel I have that time to wait before applying, skincare products.
No, that's a valid point. If there is time to wait and do it to let the products soak in, then that's great. If there isn't, then by incorporating a facial massage whilst applying your products, up and out and just sort of massaging all the products in, at least you're getting the benefit of it being absorbed. It's better than nothing if you're going to use a moisturizer with an SPF. Ideally, what everybody's writing about these days is saying that you should apply a separate SPF, because with moisturizers that contain an SPF, it may say 15 or 30 on the label, but it becomes diluted and the amount you apply to your face doesn't equate to an SPF 15 or 30. But if the budget is an issue or time, like in your case, then a 2-in-1 is better than no SPF at all. Okay, so back to the 20s, as we always digress.
Always digress.
This is a great time in your 20s to start having an occasional facial or regular facials. When you have a facial, the most important part is to have extractions and massage. You can cleanse, tone, scrub, and use masks at home, but get your facialist or your beauty therapist or your esthetician to do extractions and massage. And if you have quite congested skin, you can use peels with a low percentage of AHAs.
What's an AHA?
AHAs are alpha hydroxy acids, and these are good for people with dry skin. And then you have BHAs, which are beta hydroxy acids. They're particularly good for people with oily skin. And then you also have PHAs, which are polyhydroxy acids, and those are good for people with sensitive skin. So to recap, the focus is on prevention. That's the key in your 20s. And although your skin should be at its best, start cleansing, toning, moisturizing, and using an SPF, and maybe even an eye cream.
Yeah, that makes sense. But I just feel like keeping it real, I guess in your 20s, you're more inclined to go party, you're drinking, you're having late nights, you're doing everything that is like bad for the skin. At least getting into a basic skincare routine, like you said, the key is prevention. So also in terms of budget, because I know like 20-year-olds, they're students, they're interns or whatever else they are, to have like that starter routine, like we said, it doesn't have to break the bank. In our first video, one of the first ones, the skincare routines, the basic products, you can get the range number 7 from Boots. You can try the Ordinary, that's really affordable, and brands like that. So I think that's important to like stress.
Yes, absolutely. But again, this is sort of trying to help you to get the information, to do the research for yourself, to help yourself really.
Yeah. All right. So moving on up, tell me about my skin. We're in the 30s now.
In your 30s, you can start to see fine lines and wrinkles. You can begin to get a loss of elasticity and plumpness, and the cellular renewal can start getting sluggish. So remember the bottom layer of the epidermis. You can start introducing anti-aging serums, aromatherapy oils, a more nourishing moisturizer as your skin gets drier. I know that's happened to me over the years. I've had to change my moisturizer because to suit how my skin's behaving. And you should definitely be using an eye cream. Think about using an eye cream. And pigmentation marks could start forming due to sun damage from your younger days. And you can use a scrub 1 or 2 times a week to get rid of dead skin cells. Just a quick note as well is you should use a scrub once a week, whether you've got oily or dry skin, because you don't want to upset that acid mantle, that protective barrier, because that's like your first line of defense.
Doesn't sound too promising in the 30s. It's like the horny layer is losing its horniness.
Okay.
Not great. Moving on swiftly.
Also in our 30s, we lose 1.5% of collagen a year.
A year? So between your 30 and 40, you've lost like 15% of your collagen. That's not good. Yeah, okay. So when you say maybe start incorporating the anti-aging products, to activate that bottom layer of the epidermis, that could be like a more plumping collagen, for example. That might be the target product.
Not everything's going to penetrate into the dermis, which is where you want it to go. So the serums and aromatherapy oils go into the dermis. Don't get confused with products that say, it's a collagen cream. It's not going to stimulate your collagen. Creams are topical, and your serums and your aromatherapy oils and other things like that are what's going to penetrate and get into the dermis.
Okay, yeah. So maybe like a collagen acting serum.
Something like that, yeah. Okay. So now we get to your 40s. You must start a serious skincare regime if you haven't already. And I've personally noticed that when my clients come in, because they've kind of grown with me through the years, but when they were in their 40s, like, oh, I've got to start really looking after my face. I've really got to start having regular facials, because they can see the changes. They actually see it and they want to do something. So skincare should be taken seriously because your sebum levels will decrease. Your estrogen levels will drop. Wrinkles become more visible. Pores can get larger. Skin is thinner due to less elasticity and collagen. Sounds so depressing, doesn't it? And you could start using a lip balm, especially rubbing it in around the outline of your lips. And I think the Q&A that we did when I was in Jamaica, somebody asked about lines around the lips, and I suggested that they brush their lips with an old toothbrush at night or a new toothbrush, and then apply a lip balm and really rub it into the outside, where the fine lines start. And as we get around the lips, when your lipstick bleeds, it's all those little fine lines. That we start losing 30% of our collagen in our 40s. So it's a good time to start targeting that with retinol and peptides. From the Q&A we did in Jamaica, girls in their 20s saying, should I be using retinol and should I be using... And my answer is no. In your 20s, your skin should be in its prime. It should be really good. And I think when you use things like retinols, it makes your skin lazy because your skin will function the way it's supposed to function. And if it's got things doing it for it, it's going to get lazy and kind of not do it. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does.
So I just feel as you age, then use the appropriate skin products.
What are retinoids and peptides? Is that like a whole other video in itself, or can you briefly explain that?
Retinols are vitamin A, which goes into the dermis and which helps to boost the production of elastin and collagen, which helps to plump out the skin and reduces the appearance of fine lines. Peptides are amino acids, which are the building blocks of proteins, which is needed by the skin, like collagen and elastin. So using a serum or a cream containing peptides can lead to firmer, younger skin.
I think it's also worth just mentioning, because I don't know, when I hear these more scientific terms, I always keep in mind, like when I went through pregnancy, I was like hyper aware of the ingredients I was using and what was absorbing into my skin. So I think it's just worth mentioning, because I've seen so many pregnancies again recently. Just if you're pregnant, just do the extra research into what you should and could be using when you're pregnant. What about the 50s, the big 50?
Oh, the big five O's. Just gets more and more depressing. The skin starts to sag. And once again, there's less elastin, there's less collagen, the skin gets looser, there's a less defined jawline, as you can tell. You could get more redness, blotchy skin, more defined um, wrinkles, and hyperpigmentation as well.
So what do you do?
What do you do? You use products that are going to aid hydration, try moisturizing masks, try to have facials. You can add an eye serum under your eye cream and lip balms, anything that's nourishing.
All right, so where have we reached? We're going into 60s.
Okay, so in your 60s, the issues you had with your skin in your 50s become more pronounced in your 60s. So the elastin, the collagen, the deeper lines and wrinkles. Also, the lips lose volume and the skin tends to feel drier. So again, everything you use should be aimed at nourishing and hydrating the skin, firming serums, that kind of thing.
So I guess it just goes on and on from there. So we'll stop at 60s, but it's definitely very interesting. And I just feel like it comes down to the usual. So, you know, everyone's skin is structurally the same, but it does depend on your lifestyle, your genes, your hormones. And also, Mum, what about like ethnicity? Because maybe someone in their, or just anyone, maybe someone in their 60s has skin that looks like they're in their 40s.
Yeah, and that's where the amount of melanin that you have is really helpful to aging, because you've got less melanin than me because you're a lot fairer than me. So my skin will probably age better than yours would, and then somebody who's darker than me, they'll probably age even better than me because the melanin in your skin gives you that natural protection from the sun, from dehydrating and sun damage and things like that.
Yeah, but that's not to say that they can't burn or get skin cancer. That stuff always.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. That's where, using an SPF is really, really important. Yes, so you should really be treating your skin for the age it's showing. If you're in your 40s and you don't need an anti-aging product, then you don't use it. Just keep on with your normal moisturizers. As your skin begins to show signs of aging and problems, then address that with various products.
Having gone through the skin through the ages, I think it kind of just comes down to you treat your skin for how it looks, not the age that you are. You might be in your 40s but have 30-year-old looking skin, so you don't necessarily need to go too deep into the hydration and all that kind of anti-aging that you might do with someone in their 40s. You treat the skin for how it looks, and yeah.
That's it.
Until the next video, guys, if you have any questions, get in touch, and thank you for watching.
Yeah, take care. Bye.